Hello, everyone. Last time we learned a bit about the genres of science fiction and more specifically the subgenre of Afrofuturism. In this lesson, you are going to be reading one of my favorite Afrofuturist short stories titled Spider the Artist. But before we dive right into the story, I wanted to give a little recap and give you some time to, well, form your own expectations for the story. So, first, a recap of what Afrofuturism is. You should have gone over this in the Desmos in the last unit, but Afrofuturism or African futurism is generally a subgenre of science fiction. So, it's focused on technology, it's focused on innovation, the future, but it's based in science, in reality, not in magic like fantasy. According to Afrofuturist author Nnedi Okorafor, as you can see quoted here, African futurism is concerned with visions of the future, is interested in technology, leaves the earth, skews optimistic, is centered on and predominantly written by people of African descent, black people, and it is rooted first and foremost in Africa. It's less concerned with what could have been and more concerned with what is and can or will be. It acknowledges, grapples with, and carries what has been. So, in Okorafor's words, African futurism is about the future, but it's really, really rooted and tied to Africa in the past and the present. And you'll definitely see that in her work. Why do we care so much about Nnedi Okorafor? Well, not only is she one of the great Afrofuturist authors right now, she is the author of the particular short story we'll be looking at, Spider the Artist. Okorafor was born in Ohio in America. Her parents were Nigerian and had moved to America a few years before her birth and were unable to return there due to the Nigerian Civil War. Okorafor grew up in the US and visited Nigeria frequently, and her writing is largely informed by those two experiences as a Nigerian American. She's written a number of novels and short stories, and has also worked with Marvel, creating graphic novels for Black Panther and specifically the Shuri series. So she's done quite a lot. She works as a writer and professor, and she's got a lot to say about America, Nigeria, what our future could look like. The specific short story of hers that we're reading is called Spider the Artist, and you might immediately make some assumptions based just on that title. Maybe you're afraid of spiders, maybe you think they're really cool, maybe you're indifferent to them. What kind of spider is an artist? Are they creating beautiful spider webs? Is it a human whose name is Spider? We don't know. We're going to make a lot of assumptions based just on the title. We're also going to make some assumptions based on the images chosen to represent the story. I'm going to show you two images from, I believe, the Dutch version translation of the story, and I want you to take a moment to look at each and just think, if all you knew about the story was the title and this image, what would you think it's about? So here's our first illustration. So taking a look at this image on the left there, what would you think our story is about? I personally see a woman who looks pretty calm and relaxed. She's playing what looks like a guitar, sitting in the grass. It looks very peaceful. There's this big zigzagging pipe of some kind, so don't really know what that is. But overall, it seems like a very nice story. I can get the artist part because she's a musician, but I'm not really sure what Spider has to do with anything. So now we're going to look at another illustration by the same artist for the same story. So if all you had was this image on the right, what would you assume this story is about? Well, when I'm looking at this, I definitely see spiders, although I think it has too many legs for a normal spider. Uh, Definitely weird eyes. It looks like fire and darkness in the background. This image seems a lot more threatening. It doesn't fit the mood of the other one at all. So if I went into the short story with just the picture on the left, I'd have a pretty different idea of it if I went in with just the picture on the right. But it's time to get to the story itself and see how these two very different ideas fit together into an Afrofuturist work that's commenting not just on Africa's present, but also its future, what it could be. On Schoology, you'll find both an audiobook recording of Spider the Artist if you prefer to listen to the story, and there's also a text version if you prefer to read silently. So go ahead and pull up your preferred version of the story and make sure to follow along with the guiding questions in your packet. But most of all, enjoy the story. It really is one of my favorites.